try to tell the people is we will provide what we call foster parent situations or families in the event that the team can't afford to stay here. Now, they have to financially get here on their own to whatever city it is. But once they get to a city, we try to line up some housing. So in the event that parents don't come or teams do not wish to be staying together in a group at, say, one of the local hotels or motels, we will make sure that those kids are provided for in family homes in the community. And we had that lined up this year. I believe, we could have accommodated like 100 kids if we had to. We talked to neighbors and friends and people in the community who all were willing to, take kids.
Now, Ron, let me ask you this. If I'm viewing this in various markets throughout the country, first of all, A, is there a cutoff date? And B, is there a cutoff date is the first question. And B, if there is a cutoff date, what is the number or is there an address where I can get in contact with you?
I can give you my number, and of course, it's the area code is 614-864-1652. As far as the cutoff date, probably right after Labor Day, we'll start lining up places, although some of the sites have already indicated they'd like to, continue with what we're doing right now. And we don't want to turn a group off if they've done a good job. For example, like right here, they've done such a great job. And the leadership has been very strong. How do you tell a group of people who enjoy doing something like this and have opened up their hearts and their homes to everybody that they can't? So we want to stay with the winners, you might say, Randy. But if there's other groups that are interested, certainly we would honor any type of a bid that they would want to make.
Ron Golden, ladies and gentlemen, the president of the Continental Amateur Baseball Association. We'll be talking again with Ron and Mayor John P. Francis. We call him Kenny throughout the ball game. We've played to complete the score. Perry Hall, Maryland 2, Sterling Heights 1. We move into the top of the third inning of play. Greg Campiste facing second baseman Mike Pastore. And Pastore takes a strike, 0-1. Seen but one pitch, Dave, that looked like it had the remnants of the elbow move and the spin and the rotation of a curveball, but otherwise, Campiste looks like he's just throwing as hard as he can out there.
Yeah, and really, as I said earlier, some of these kids you watch them pitch, it's evident they're just throwing everything they've got, but he's nice and smooth. It looks like he could even throw harder if he wanted to.
Throwing within himself right now.
That's a good way to put it.
Left field, and that's a base hit, and it takes a bad hop by the left fielder all the way to the wall. Pastore rounds first. He slides into second. He'll be in there with a double all the way. That ball just took a weird hop out there in left field and went by Steve Teodecki and rolled all the way to the fence. Got some good help backing him up out there by Jimmy Kerr. Coach Frank Teodecki was talking about the fact how he can back up everyone. Take a look at that ball one more time. Just takes that real weird bloop hop right there, right by Teodecki and all the way to the wall. And there's Kerr all the way over from center field. That left-hander turns around and gets it into second.
He did a super job getting over there. Good old man.
Tim Elliott fouls the first one off the mask of home plate umpire Jack Kasai, and he'll be taking inventory right now. 2 lenses still on those glasses. 5 fingers on each hand, and the watch is still running. We'll put it under water later on in the game. There's a strike.
You're right.
0-2.
Oh, here's the count.
Tim Elliott is another gentleman we could see later on in the game as a possible pitcher for this Perry Hall team. That's low, 1-2. Remember, you can't say in this situation that the runner leads from a particular base, because if you do, that gentleman is out. There are no leadoffs in this. You cannot leave the base until the ball crosses home plate. 1-2 the count now on Tim Elliott. Top of the third inning, nobody out. Here's the 1-2 from Campiste. There's a pop-up right behind us, and it's about 5 feet behind us. And Dave, I don't know. If I had your catcher's glove from a few years ago, I might have had it.
Well, the mic cord's a little short.
That's true.
Couldn't get away for that one.
Count stays 1-2 now on Tim Elliott. Pastore, the runner at second. Here's the 1-2 from Campiste. Strike on the outside corner. He caught him looking. Strikeout number 5 now, Dave, through 2 1/3 innings for Greg Campiste.
And just looking through here, I think he only walked a couple kids.
Walked 2 batters, both in the second inning. One came back to score in the person of Brian Ware. So a strikeout, and that brings up first baseman Tom Dugas, who was a strikeout victim his first time up. There's a liner No doubt about that one. Base hit all the way. Chiodecki's throw into third will hold the runner at third base. The runner's now on the corners with one out. Single for Dugas. That brings up the catcher, number 29, Eric Blunt.
And third, the batter.
That ball is well hit, Randy. That's as good a hit ball as I've seen.
I tell you, nice job again out there by Mr. Chiodecki, because as you take a look at it one more time, that ball did take a high hop on him, but he put his body in front of that ball that time and blocked it off and got a good cutoff throw into the third baseman, holding that runner at third. So one out here, top of the third, and here comes Eric Blunt.
Strike one.
There's a strike 0-1. Blunt hit that little fly ball to right fielder Irby, who made a nice running catch on it in the second inning.
Dugas just trotted down the second on it.
That's a situation we talked about earlier, Dave, too, where you're kind of hesitant to make that throw to second, because when you do, the runner sometimes comes home from third. Up the middle, base hit. The runner holds very nicely at second. Now he can go to third. They'll try to wave him home. Here he comes to the plate. The throw is cut off and not in time. And 2 runs come around, and it is now a Perry Hall 4-1 lead.
On that single, he got 2 RBIs.
Give 2 RBIs to Eric Blunt. Take a look at that one more time. No, we won't take a look at it one more time. But I tell you what, Blunt did a good job taking that right up the middle. And I tell you who really impressed me was a play at second base there by Mike Pastore, who held his ground. Check that at second base. That would have been
Dugas.
Tom Dugas, who advanced and took that free stolen base, I guess you could call it. He held his ground there as the ball went right by second base and made sure the shortstop had no play. And he came around to score as that ball rolled all the way to the fence, and now it's a 4-1 lead. Still but one out, and that brings up right fielder Brian Ware. Brian walked and scored the first run of this ball game. 2-0 this count right now on Brian Ware. Runner at first is Eric Blunt. Kempiski's 2-0 is a strike. 2-1. One thing that's a little misleading from our vantage point, Dave, I guess, is sitting behind home plate. Doug Essler, when he sets his target for location on the outside corner, cheats body out there, too. So sometimes it looks like the ball is just outside, but Kempiski's got great control and can hit that outside corner. That one gets away. Blunt will advance to second. The throw gets through to center field, but the runner holds at second base.
Center fielder backed him up on the throw.
That'll be a wild pitch, with Blunt advancing to second base.
Second base.
You were talking about that earlier, about the strong arm of Doug Essler, and that's what I noted last time. It was strong, but a little high. You got to watch it. You can be strong, but you got to keep that ball no higher than about waist high.
Yeah, he was hurrying the throw also, but that has something to do with it sometimes.
Ware steps back in now, 4-1 to score. Top of third inning of play. The CABA 10-and-under World Series championship game. Fly ball deep to left field. And off the glove of Chiodecki. Here comes the runner from second. He'll go to third. He rounds third, and he will score. Now the runner at second makes his move towards third, and he is safe at third base. So Brian Ware makes it all the way to third base on that ball. Eric Blunt comes around to score, give another run to Perry Hall. They lead now by a 5-1 count.
Randy, I really think he was afraid he was going to run into the fence out there because the ball was catchable.
Take a look at that one more time. He's out there with Kerr. It could have been a situation, too, where there could have been just a slight bit of miscommunication between the two, as the center fielder sometimes is the quarterback out there in the outfield. And one run scores. And in that situation, it almost looked like Ware overcommitted himself by going around second base, but he made it into third safely. And so he stands there at third. A 5-1 score now with but one out here in the top of the third inning of play.
Next batter, number 25, Jeff Burrows.
Frank Chiodecki with a conference out on the mound, along with his assistants, Jim Wise, Jim Kerr, and Joe Russin. Done a fine job with this Sterling Heights Oriole team. Kempiski to face now Jeff Burrows, the third baseman. Right side, left side, check that through the hole. Base hit into left field. Another run scores. Looks like it's 6-1 now. And a runner at first.
Save it first over there.
So another run scores, make it 6-1 now, and that brings up center fielder number 27, Danny Brown.
Looks like the floodgates have opened here a little bit, Randy.
Looks like this Perry Hall team might have really hit their stride yesterday afternoon playing that Post-Columbus team. Coming up with those 10 runs in the bottom half of the fourth inning, started to believe in themselves, I think, a little bit more, and came out with a 14-7 victory. Then this morning, earlier, they beat Fresno by a 6-2 count. The Sterling Heights team came in to action until yesterday afternoon, undefeated, and lost to Fresno by a 5-3 score. And they had a bye until this championship game here. This game was played at 1:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. Weather conditions, the temperature in the mid-80s. Little wind to speak of.
We're on a roll right now.
That's fouled on.
People come out here and look, and obviously there's a few people building that. If things turn around, we haven't seen any building.
6-1 the score. Perry Hall with 2 in the top of the second. They came up with another 4 so far here in the top of the third inning of play. Sterling Heights answered with 1 run in the bottom of the first inning of play, and that's where we stand right now. Brown steps back in. Campiste's delivery high and inside. 2-2 the count now on Danny Brown.
Even up. 2-2.
Brown came into the series, as we said, batting .433, 29 hits and 67 at-bats. Also has a very good eye. He's walked 20 times so far in the season. Here's the 2-2 from Campiste. To short. Wise has it to second. Relay not in time.
Got him at
Nice attempt.
fourth to second base. Relay to first. Was not
Fielder's
in
choice
time.
and a force out at second base. Brown is on now with 2 outs. And that brings up left fielder
The batter
Corey
now coming
Randolph.
up, number 11, Corey Randolph.
Well, that's something where I think the younger age groups have really progressed on, Dave, I think in the last few years, is that pivot at second base and at least being able to make that throw to first base.
It's a tough thing, Randy. You know, people see it on television all the time, the major leaguers, make it look like just falling off a log, but it's something that has to be worked on. I know in the baseball camps I work on in the summertime, that's one of the things we try to cover. We've got some kids that are excellent. Other kids have no idea how to handle it out there.
There's a strike. Well, 2 things really I think you're talking about there. You're talking about turning 180, getting rid of the ball all in about one motion, and then also the second, and quite often the biggest factor, is there's a runner heading right for you.
Correct. That's correct.
Trying to take his team out of that double play. To second. 3 hops, over to first. That ends the inning. Nice play made by second baseman Doug Lipinski, but the damage is done in the top of the third inning of play, and we've played 2.5 to score. Perry Hall 6 and Sterling Heights 1. We'll be back in just a moment.
Would you like to win $5,000? Of course you would. That's right, friends. It's a coaxial $5,000 friendly never giveaway. And wait a minute. This is a great contest, and lots of you have already qualified. And you can win a Zenith 19-inch color TV or a Zenith VHS programmable VCR or even $5,000 in cash. It's so easy to enter. Just fill out the card you received in the mail and send it in to us, or phone in your referral to us at 239-8500. If your referral becomes a new coaxial subscriber, you'll receive 1 month of free basic cable plus 1 entry into the giveaway. For 2 connected referrals, a 2nd month of free basic cable plus 2 more entries. And for each referral over 2 that becomes a new coaxial subscriber, 10 additional entries. Referrals must be received by August 31st, and new subscribers must be installed by September 7th. Phone referrals will be accepted, and you can get more referral cards by calling 239-8500. The drawing will be held September 12th. So, send in those cards. Make those phone calls. After all, wouldn't you like to win $5,000? Of course you would.
Lady is enjoying all the action here in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Kennedy Park, diamond number 4. The day is Sunday. I'm Randy Reinhardt along with Dave Fay and Mayor John A. Francis of Reynoldsburg, along with Ron Golden, the president of the Continental Amateur Baseball Association. They've been giving us comments throughout the game. We hope you've enjoyed it and you've been able to hear them on the guest mic that we have down there. I know Dave and I have had some questions about it. We haven't been able to hear them through our headsets, but hopefully everything is going out on the airwaves okay and you have a chance to enjoy it.
Ball.
Going to the bottom half of the third inning of play, leading it off for Sterling Heights is second baseman Doug Lipinski. There's a ball 2-0. Lipinski with an on-base percentage of .417. One of the fastest members of the team. 3-0 the count now. He started the season in the outfield and has since moved to the infield and done a fine job at second base and at third. Bluffs the bunt. That's the other thing, too, Dave, I think you look for. When you're down by a couple runs early in the game, it might not be a bad situation to take a few pitches and maybe see how well that pitcher can control himself and what his location is like around home plate.
Hey, you don't want to jump on the first thing he throws up there, especially in a game like this. The kid's going to be a little bit nervous and jittery, maybe.
Ball 4. He's on first.
There's a walk given up by Tanner.
Back to the top lineup, number 7.
Move up to the top of the order again, and first baseman Justin Lease. Justin doubled his first time up and scored the only Sterling Heights run. Orioles lineup has a scrappy man at number 9 in the order, and they go to the top of the order, and Justin Lease, and they have another guy who gets on base quite often. They'll walk, they'll get that hit, they'll do whatever they have to get on base.
The first two batters up here now squared around a couple times. Maybe that's a strategy the coach thinks to bother the pitcher somewhat.
Well, let's take a look, Dave. You look through your box score right now. I think you'll be able to see that Tanner has not walked anyone. He has not struck out anyone in this game. The other interesting situation is I think the Sterling Heights Orioles, a team that can really hit it, really been swinging at the ball, so they might try to test Tanner now and see what his control is around the plate. Ron Golden talks about control, he talks about consistency, and he talks about concentration as being the 3 C's. I call them the 3 cons, and we'll see what Matt Tanner can do right now as we move into the bottom of the third inning of play. 1 on, nobody out. That's Lipinski leading from first base. As you take a look from our center field camera, woman by Carla Banks again. There's a strike.
2-1 the count.
2-1 the count right now on Justin Lease. Danny Wise is due up next. To short. To second, they take the easy one, and a nice play.
Second base.
Out number 1. Nice play by the shortstop.
Choice, runner on first.
Picking up that ball with Tim Elliott and dishing it to Mike Castro. And once again, I think in the championship game, you see that here, Dave. The infielders are not panicking at all. They know they have time, especially on that play to second base. They take the sure out.
That's it. You got to get the head one for sure. He did on that one.
Another nice play by Burrows. To second for 1. Burrows has got a glove.
Fielder's choice, second base.
I don't know if just because they're from the Baltimore area, but
number 6.
a bit reminiscent of Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, they probably know who he is, even though they're only 9 and 10.
And those of you watching this in the Perry Hall area, we hope you're enjoying it. Remember, we're sharing this feed with several different markets throughout the country, and there's a pop-up, and the catcher cannot get it behind home plate. It was attempted to be put down, and tried to make a play on that ball, but Wise's bunt was just a little high. Check that Steve Tiadecki's bunt.
I wonder what the strategy is behind that now. They got 2 outs, and your third hole hitter up, and he's trying to bunt. I don't know if they're trying to just make something happen in the infield or what their thinking is there. Going again.
He lays it down. And that could be it. And the runner from second now will advance to third. The ball goes out of play. I'll tell you what I figured is I saw this happen a little earlier. Sometimes in Major League Baseball you do whatever you can to get what you call a rally starter. That is what I've seen quite often as a rally starter. If you can't get that walk here in 10 and under, quite often you can lay that bunt down because a lot of times the third baseman and the first baseman are playing back, or you force the pitcher to make a play. And what you're doing is instead of just standing there with the bat at the plate, you force them to make a defensive play in the field.
No pitch.
No pitch is called as Keith Irby steps out. Let's take a look at that one more time. There's the bunt. Tanner picks it up. The throw just wide at first base. Ball goes out of play. The runners advance to second and third, respectively, with 2 outs here. 6-1 the score. And, oh, a nice play at second. The throw in time. What a play at second base by Mike Pastore. Pastore arranging far to his right, makes the grab, backhand from his knee, turns and throws to first in time to retire Keith Irby. So in the bottom of the third inning of play, Sterling Heights threaten, but they do not score. The score is 6-1 at the end of 3 innings of play.
Randy, we've seen about 2 or 3 plays that any coach would be proud of in the infield. That was an excellent play right there.
And we saw a nice catch in the outfield there made by Irby, who was just at the plate.